Howdy, howdy, everybody. We are live tonight to talk about the new Star Trek. Excuse me, I can't talk. I'm so excited. I'm getting choked up on my words here. But the Strange New Worlds teaser trailer has dropped. Finally. I feel like we were waiting on it
Yay.
for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It feels like forever.
Even though they accidentally, unintentionally dropped a trailer that they didn't mean to a few weeks ago. But we're not going to talk about that one. We're going to talk about the one that
We don't want to get it shut down.
that CBS will allow us to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm happy to see we have some people in the audience already. So hi Arthur, hi Cake is Eternal, hi Jill, hi Pastel Pirate. So thank you for joining us, and be sure to let us know your thoughts as we go along. I'm joined by Brian and Aaron Harvey.
My brother's name is Brian, so that was weird when you said Brian and Aaron Harvey. I'm like, huh?
Brian Swift and Aaron Harvey,
Yes.
aka Geek Filter, aka co-author and designer of the guide to the animated series book, which you can see behind them back there.
Yes.
Which I plug on our content all the time because it's really cool. And they don't make a lot of animated series merch, so people should grab it.
Next year is the 50th anniversary, though, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
that we'll get to do something.
I hope so too. That reminds me. I'll tell you something off air, but I'm trying to pass things along to people who might have some influence on that. But
Okay.
They
Yes.
should re-release the logbooks.
That would actually be pretty cool. Yeah, I like that idea.
what were the log books? Were those the
They were the
adaptations?
my brain is, the adaptations, and I'm trying to remember who the author is, and it's Alan Dean Foster.
It was Alan Dean Foster.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting if they did that, and maybe with like or do a book that's a follow up to one of them or something, do a continuing mission.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
But speaking of bringing things back, we're bringing back the Cage. We're bringing back Pike. We're bringing back that Enterprise. We're bringing back Lieutenant Spock. He's just a lowly lieutenant. But we don't see a ton of that in this trailer. I'm just going to go ahead and share some images. But it's mainly just kind of it's a teaser trailer, just kind of setting the tone for Pike specifically. It doesn't show off too much other than the idea of, I guess, the title, Strange New Worlds. We do see a few different Strange New Worlds, but we open with is this Pike living in semi-retirement? Maybe he's very like Kirk and Generations vibes in this. He just wants to like ride horses around, and then someone's like, "We need you back, Captain." It's very, very Generations-y.
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting opening. And I don't know how much of this is going to dominate the narrative of the show, or if they just wanted to, show you some stuff from the first episode that isn't going to give the whole game away. So but last time we see Pike, he's on the bridge and everyone's heading out for a big adventuring. And here he kind of looks like he's not been adventuring for a while, at least not on the Enterprise. Maybe
Yeah, we've even had a couple of short treks since that last appearance on Discovery. So he's shown up on short treks having adventures and training junior officers with those weird, messed up Starfleet mind games that they like to play on people.
Yes,
I wonder
it's good that we think you should start to learn how to deal with post-traumatic stress right now. So we're going to induce some so that you can get the hang of it and figure out your way around it and stuff. If
The Tholians blew up your husband. What? Just kidding. It was a test.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Gene Roddenberry said by the time, the 23rd, 24th century, people won't have any worry about death.
Yeah.
They're like, kids are fine. And,
Well, he also said Counselor Troy should have 4 boobs or something like that. So Gene is great, except for when he's not.
Yes. I'm wondering, actually, if this is taking place before some of this, because I know that there's some novelizations that are done by people now who are connected with the show, and that it was sort of like dragging him back to Starfleet. And you do see in the Cage where he kind of seems like, I don't know if I really want to do this. And so I'm wondering if it's that or if it's just more of that, like just a repeat.
He's become
And
the reluctant captain again.
Yeah. And does that mean there's something going on where you're like, when we see Pike in Disco, he's kind of relentlessly go get him, on top of everything. Does he have some sort of like insecurity issues that every now and then he just, goes off to a cabin or talks about selling slaves or whatever, and he just he just suddenly kind of crashes and he needs, the this is something that happens to him every few years.
Well, he's also dealing with the knowledge of his fate now, so maybe he thought he could retire for a little bit, but then he gets pulled back in.
Yeah, I mean, if I hadn't seen Disco season 2, I think I'd be fine with this opening. But having seen Disco season 2, it feels weird, or having seen the last episode of Disco season 2, let's put it that way. That's really the one that has him. They all seem to be sailing off to harass new trainees and have bold new adventures. And boom, now he's back here, and that feels like an odd reversal. Are they going to introduce some new trauma, or was he just lying to himself about how little the timey-wimey thing damaged him?
Well, he was also right. They're in the middle of something like relentlessly, like they had to keep moving forward. So I don't know how much time there was for him to evaluate everything that happened. So it's a possibility that. And I know that they hid the ship for the entire Klingon war because they wanted them to be there for the, representation of Starfleet or whatever that was. So maybe those kind of things combined, just sort of like, okay, now when you actually get a chance to breathe, and then you just sort of like, ugh, everything sinks in.
I mean, it's going to have a certain Star Trek 4 versus Star Trek 5 effect where, we're sailing off the Enterprise. We're back in dry dock. We were not ready. Kind of.
Yeah, there might be some type of time jump. This might be like a couple years after that or something.
Jill 47 pointed out Spock also appeared to be on a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe there's going to be a little bit of like getting the band back together.
Yeah, and maybe they went on a particularly grueling 1-year mission, and everyone got 2 months of shore leave or whatever, or of leave.
They went back to the Rigel system, and a lot of dudes got massacred again. And he's just like all
and
depressed.
so it's not that there was a huge trauma. It's just everyone was on break, and they're calling them back a little early because bad thing is happening and needs only Pike and the Enterprise can go to China.
But since it's a new show and they're going to try to bring in new audience, this is also a way to introduce each character in a quote more natural, way than just introducing everybody on the bridge, I suppose.
That's how Pike was introduced to us. He's the guy who maybe he doesn't want to be a Starfleet captain. Maybe he just wants to ride a horse around. Yeah. So you got to introduce him to the broad audience. Did y'all notice that this communicator we actually saw on Discovery a couple of weeks ago when they were showing all the different communicators, different translator technology. So this is their tweaked, remodified version of the original series communicator. Looks pretty good.
Yeah. I like it. It also far easier to make a toy out of than the actual ones, which had the bent metal mesh that you really can only replicate with bent metal mesh if you want to have any structural stability. This you could actually make out of plastic, and it would still be fairly durable. So.
But if this teaser trailer is any indication, a lot of the looks of things like ships, props, uniforms, whatever. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of Discovery influence, but also a lot. Some things are going to look like how they did in Discovery. Some things are going to look closer to the original series, which kind of makes sense.
Well, that
given
phone
the
looks like
setting.
I would say I just noticed there's a phone back there, a dial
that phone looks like it came out of the 60s.
Pike likes the I have an old rotary phone actually in the room next to me. So
I wonder, does he have like a fake rotary phone that is Bluetooth connected to his communicator so that he can like pick it up with a cord and.
I mean, you can connect your communicator replicas to your phone with Bluetooth.
It's the reverse.
I know, that's why I was wondering if it was going the other way, where the communicator is the actual.
I have this ancient iPhone that I used.
Yeah, just for style, to make me feel like my great-great-grandfather.
But the shuttlecraft that we have looks amazing. It's very much inspired by the old the Class F shuttle.
Yep. Yeah,
And you get the idea of like if he's trying to just live like this old cowboy life on Earth, and then Starfleet comes back into his life. You get like the perfect visual representation of that here with the shuttlecraft flying down next to him as he's riding his horse.
yeah. The pilot's not messing around either. I'm just gonna fly right by you.
That's a cocky pilot. Yeah.
Yeah.
The horse might go crazy and because
you.
horses spook and kill you. There's soft snow. It'll throw you off and you'll land in the soft snow. It'll be fine. I mean, the pilot might just be cocky and not know anything about horses, but
I'm wondering if
Wonderful know who that is.
the shuttle in Discovery, which doesn't look anything like the original series shuttle, but they call that a Class C, I guess to imply that it's comes before the Class F, so this might be like a Class D or E or something. But yeah, I love seeing that. It's a great way to modernize this classic design, kind of like how I would even like say this is better than how the Kelvin movies handled some of that stuff. But in the Kelvin movies, I liked like their shuttlecraft, some of their version of that 1960s aesthetic. But
And what's
is that
cool
a
about
door? Is that a door on that back of that shuttle? The
I think so, yeah. And that's like the Discovery
and I think
shuttles have the door on the
legs,
back.
right?
yeah.
I'm thinking that what I like about the they have the same that reflective nacelles are reflective of what the main ship looks like, so they have kind of the redone Enterprise nacelles, and just the angles and stuff feel very like stealth fighter or something like that. It feels like, oh, okay, that makes more sense than a box. It's like it kind of could work.
Yeah, 'cause I honestly don't want it to be as boxy as the old Matt Jeffries Class F design, but yeah,
They didn't want it to be either. They just didn't have money.
Right? Yeah, if you look at his concept artwork, it looks
it's super
sleeker.
round and cool.
Yeah. I suspect they wanted to keep the simple lines of TOS, but still make something that isn't a box with engines. It doesn't look like a brick with a point.
It's a flying communicator.
Yeah.
From a distance, like the back of it, it does have like that same kind of the general shape where you see like those little ramp things on the top left and right side, and just for comparison, here's the shuttlecraft they used in the first 2 seasons of Discovery, which first of all, it's like a lot larger. It's like the size of a school bus. You can fit a lot of people on it.
They used it for a school bus in Picard, and the short trek too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you weren't the only one to notice that.
I kind of have PTSD of this shuttlecraft because it was driving me nuts how much like it showed up in Picard and the short treks and places where it shouldn't. So I'm glad to see it replaced with something.
The C stands for continuous.
Continuous. I heard someone say that clearly when the Disco went to the 32nd century through that wormhole, because they always have their shuttle bay open, so they're just dropping shuttles like all through the timeline. They're just showing up everywhere.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're getting something close to the old Galileo style back. So that's cool. And also they
should find aliens using Voyager shuttles all over the Delta Quadrant and Prodigy.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on
all
on ships showing up in the Delta Quadrant when they totally shouldn't.
No, but Voyager shuttles would be perfectly appropriate. Like the technology has been retro engineered by all these different species, so everyone's flying Voyager shuttles around just with their own paint jobs in the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah, they don't really worry about those. They worry about like, oh, we left something, like somebody copied our replicator or whatever. But no, the shuttle technology is fine.
Yeah.
Pastel Pirate is saying that she thinks that's the shuttle that she saw at the Space Center, and yes, they have the old Galileo is on display in Houston at the NASA Space Center.
Yeah, I've seen it. It was great. It was very cool.
I went there and couldn't find it, but I'm told it's there somewhere. I'm just a moron.
But I have to admit, I didn't. It was the last thing we saw before we left. Was what's over in this corner? We haven't done this corner, and everyone was like, "We should go, Brian. It's getting late." And I was like, "No, OCD. We have to stick our nose in every corner." And there was this, shuttle. Oh my god, the angel song and everything.
Just think if you had not seen that.
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah, you would have felt like me.
Yes. Do you think? Obviously, everything we've heard seems to be indicating that we're going to push that 60s TOS design aesthetic more. Do we feel like there should be an in-text explanation for why things are looking more simplified? Or are we just fine with it starts looking that way and nobody mentions it?
Yeah, I don't think you need to explain it. I think the only people who care are going to be the people who are happy that it's progressing in that direction.
Yeah.
And if it goes from TOS TAS aesthetic in 2269 to motion picture in 2270, so like in a year, everything changed over really quickly, and their technology looks really different.
Yeah, though I noticed a lot of the fan material written around that time did go to some extensive length to explain the disparity between the animated series and the motion picture, the visual look, and the ancillary stuff that it did concern fandom, even if it didn't concern Roddenberry.
Well, I think Roddenberry just wanted to do something cool and new. It was sort of just, there wasn't this whole just weight of canon on him, so and he was still alive doing what he wanted to do, so it was up to him.
Yeah, I think when you're in the original creator, you don't necessarily feel the weight of canon. It's your thing, and you just do whatever the heck you want.
Right, because you remember all the different ideas that you had. That didn't even make it to the show. Robert April. Well, no, I can change his name to Pike. Oh no, he's going to be Kirk.
Yeah, I think Rick Berman spent way more time thinking about the weight of canon than Roddenberry ever did.
This planet's cool.
Yeah, so they don't make this teaser trailer very long. They don't show too much. We really only see Pike and I guess Spock and not any of the other characters that we know are regulars. However, they do remind us very clearly that this show is going to be Strange New Worlds, that it will be different stories, that it will visit various different planets. And they show some interesting vistas.
We see a planet where they have mastered the art of building tall buildings in earthquake zones. Because if you're that close to another big planet, you're going to have a lot of earthquakes.
They have a really good control over their tectonic fluctuations.
I guess, maybe they've harnessed their tectonic plates, which sounds even more amazing of technology.
It's all made out of iron, like the planet in Voyager that was getting the earthquakes from Voyager being locked in their orbit for centuries.
We also see that the Enterprise will battle Galactus from the Rise of the Silver Surfer movie. There's a big mean cloud.
Yeah, that is a big cloud.
It could be the Planet Eater from TAS. It could be Once Upon a Planet. It does look kind of like that, actually.
And then we maybe see Vulcan. There's a conversation I see in our audience earlier about Spock here. Looks like it's the back of Ethan Peck's head, and there's some points on those ears, but I guess he's shirtless. I think sometimes I look at these images, it looks like he has a real really tight shirt. I can see a little bit of a neckline right here, but maybe not.
Yeah, looks like you can also see little. Yeah, I don't know.
Aaron, this is an image that you made. Do you wanna tell us what's going on here?
It's possible that this is Shakar, which is the Vulcan, the main city on Vulcan, which we've seen a couple times, but it originated in the animated series. And my bandwidth today has been sort of off and on, so when I took this screenshot, it looks a little mushier than it does, but it does feel like there's a city with a ring around it. And if this is Vulcan, that makes sense that it would be this. Yeah,
they recreated that imagery in the original series remastered version when they showed a little bit more of the of the planet in the muck time,
and then in Enterprise, I think, wasn't it?
I don't remember if we see the ring around the city in Enterprise, but maybe.
I don't think it's there in Enterprise.
No, okay.
I don't think it's there in Discovery either, but they never show us that it's not there. But
so that's
what
cool.
Is the ring? Is the ring supposed to be a bunch of trees?
I don't know. I've never been able. Well, now unfortunately I can't ask Dorothy, but I'm guessing that it's some sort of dust windbreak kind of a thing. So it's because it's huge. It's as tall as some of those buildings.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's kind of lumpy though, like
Yeah.
bushes or trees or something. But
I'm just thinking like dirt had been piled up or something, but it looks like it there too. It's almost like a wind drift or something like
Yeah.
that.
we
I
will
don't
have
know.
everything in our city perfectly meticulously planned out, except the windbreak, which will just be piles of dirt.
Maybe it was built inside of a crater or something like that.
Or
Yeah.
it's just something left over from
I
the
don't know.
ancient days. Like that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
they built that to keep the Romulans out before they left the planet or something.
It's the Great Wall of Shakar.
Yeah, those who march under the banner of the raptor's wings, they won't get past our ring barrier.
Dude, they've got wings. They can fly. The wall's not going to work. I do
I will
love
see if I can.
I do want to say the trees on Vulcan in the originals in the TAS. I was always wanted to see those funky looking trees realized in like some sort of 3D, live action capacity.
It looks like 1960s corporate art, like you could find outside of a building in New York or something like that, like in a big square for finance or something.
Yeah, I just like the idea that they grow corporate art.
Right. I mean, it's very 60s, 70s. They did. I mean, I love their backgrounds just for just the cool, just weirdness of them, and especially Vulcan. They had like his house has a lot of those type of trees outside, and then inside they have the little waterfalls and things like that. So
Now in Discovery they had red trees on Vulcan, right? When Burnham went back home and Spock was hiding in the cave there. But yeah, they
like their red trees in the 2000s. It seems like.
I would hope that they would borrow some visual imagery from the animated series and
Kurtzman likes the animated series. He outbid me for like half the cells that I was trying to use for the book. So it's like they're all hanging in his office. I'm like, can you get him to take them down and so we can scam them? Like we never got a chance to do that.
Someone pass it along to Alex.
A little late now, but yeah.
But yeah, we talked about all this. Oh, look, they're coming up with all like these new designs that look very in line with the original series. But there's still some. I don't want to call them artifacts because that sounds a little mean. But there's still some holdover props and costumes from Star Trek Discovery with these environmental suits.
Well, especially since a lot of these props are not going to be used by 32nd Century Discovery, it kind of makes sense to stick them in this show.
We have a warehouse full of all this stuff up here in Toronto, and they're not using it on Discovery anymore. So
yeah, you might as well get the production dollar, get as much bang for your production dollar as possible. If you don't have to pay for new spacesuits, then you can spend that money somewhere else. So
I wonder if other ships that we see that they encounter will have Discovery uniforms, because we're saying that, like, I think they were talking about that at least in the book, that it was only reserved for like the newer ships, and they were sort of testing those uniforms. So
and they said that in the episode Brother that introduced Pike in the Enterprise, right. They said, oh, you have the new uniforms. But that also is kind of weird because then in Short Treks we see stuff taking place before that, and they had the uniforms like on Spock's first day at work.
Oh yeah.
So that's a little weird, but the recent shows overall have done a good job of conditioning us to accept that uniforms are no longer uniform, that different parts of Starfleet are going to have different types of uniforms. And there's kind of been a little bit of tradition in that, I guess, going back to like DS9 and Next Generation being on the air at the same time. So, but they're really leaning into it now with different ships doing different jobs might have different uniforms. I'd like to see a variety. I'd even like to see they go somewhere and they might see like people wearing like the Cage Where No Man Has Gone Before type sweaters or something. But maybe wait till you're in like season 4 or something before you drop that on us. But I think that'd be cool if they had like a little bit of that variety. I'm also interested. Are they going to encounter other Starfleet ships that are some of those classes that were introduced in the first 2 seasons of Discovery? Like, are we going to see reuse of the CGI models from the Battle of the Binary Stars, or are they going to come up with newer designs? And we know that there's like a TOS era Stargazer. It's in Chris Rios's Ready Room in Picard season 2 episode 1. I'd like to see that ship. That ship looks pretty cool. It looks like the old Constitution class, but with 4 nacelles, and that if it's actually called Stargazer, that'd be It'd be kind of a cool little
That would
connective
be.
thing.
Yeah. I guess I would certainly. I like things to be inclusive, so I would like them to continue to use a lot of much of the Discovery assets as it makes sense for them to use.
Just lit better.
Yeah. I would like them. I would like to actually
See
love
them?
to see all the Discovery ships lit
Yes.
in the style of 90s Trek. I would just love to see some shots of that, just to see what they look like when you light them up 90s Trek style.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Well, they have also since 2017. They have gotten better and better with the what we like to call the ship porn of showing off the ship. So I think that we're in pretty good hands going forward. I think this new generation of creators, they had a lot of good ideas and stuff, but some of them that hadn't been involved in Star Trek didn't quite understand exactly what the diehard fans want and expect. You know, like when they reused Discovery ships in the Children of Mars short trek, they were probably surprised when, you know, a lot of people were pissed off about that. And even remember Michael Chabon saying at one point, like, "Oh yeah, like I've been a Star Trek fan all my life, but I guess like I didn't realize how important some of these things are to certain fans." So
Which is funny because he was a friend of my writing teacher, so I actually talked to him when Voyager was on, and the amount of like detail that he went into about Voyager. So he seems to have forgotten that. I guess I don't know.
yeah, and I like a lot of Chabon's writing in Picard season 1 did actually pull a lot of things from the canon, and he even said,
Yeah.
you know, I enjoy the continuity. I like being able to pull things from it. But I think to some of like that visual presentation and being done in a certain style might be something that you know he didn't realize kind of needed to be emphasized for the cranky fans out there. You know, it's really amazing this week after what they did on Picard, where you know you give us some of those legacy ships, throw in some Star Trek Online designs, and then go on social media and talk all about it. And you know, it's amazing how big of like a shot in the arm and just big boost of energy that is and excitement in the fandom. So yeah, a little bit goes a long way with that type of stuff.
Yeah,
That's
having Doug
appreciated.
Drexler and Mike and Denise Okuda back is fantastic.
Yeah, we need another Star Trek show being done in Southern California, over there where you are, Aaron, because that's where all the you know the old Star Trek veterans are. And I know a lot of
Well,
these
there's
Canadian shows, they're like contractually like you have to use Canadian citizens in your
right.
production, and I get that. You know that makes sense, but
Yeah, I think there's something we were talking about this that Star Trek is also very quintessentially 60s California. There's something like tied in with the just the where the people lived and the location that would work on that show. So there's something about the location where it's filmed that even if you don't see it, it has this impact.
you need to go out and shoot some stuff at Vasquez Rocks every now
Well,
and
yeah.
then.
That's just required. I mean, that's Star Trek. So.
But you know, now with the volume, with the CG AR wall,
Yeah, you
they
just
can
drop that in.
yeah.
Yeah, that AR wall, I don't know. Some of at least I think some of what I noticed was just sort of like it felt a little video gamey.
I feel like with
Like-
Discovery season 4, they've actually gotten better at using it over the course of the season.
Did they use it in season 3? I don't think they did.
No, I'm just saying compared to the beginning of season 4.
Oh yes, because the beginning of season 4 when they're like the whole Starfleet thing, it just felt like they were inside of a game or a big green screen or something. I don't know. It didn't feel like they were walking around in real life.
Right. Whereas like with this last episode, which Aaron, I don't think you've seen yet.
No,
You're
I'm
not caught
behind.
up.
Yeah.
But they actually visit a planet and you do see a lot of the landscape and the they go through like a couple different environments as they're walking around there, and you do get the sense they're exploring a strange new world, kind of like what this show is wanting to be about. So
Cool.
hopefully Strange New Worlds has also learned from Discovery having to spend a season, even though they were producing these at the same time. They actually wrapped Strange New Worlds season 1 before Discovery season 4, but I think there might have been like some COVID complications with that, and you know, a lot of delays and stuff. So it's been kind of a production nightmare the last couple of years. I don't envy the people having to be in charge of all the protocols, and then all the money you have to spend to reserve a location and then shut down shooting for 2 weeks. And yeah, it sounds like a real pain in the ass, but
Yeah.
So Is this picture from the same the city with the towers that are earthquake resistant? Because there's lots of clouds in among the buildings here,
Yes.
just like
Yeah,
there
it
were
could be.
clouds in among the building in the
It looks
other
like
shot.
a little kid is like the king of this planet or something. I'm not
Mhm.
sure what's going on there, but
You can see it looks like Pike in the bottom right-hand corner down there.
oh yeah, like some type.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe this is the planet from Lower Decks with all of the Ren Fair people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting
that
those
would be amazing.
vibes.
Yeah. It
Um,
looks like there's something big going on, and they've got a ceremonial Pike. So
But yeah, this part of the trailer, there's a character's speaking. You know, there's a man's voice who says something like, "Christopher, we need you back, Captain." Who Aaron, you and I were talking off camera.
Yeah.
We were thinking how cool that would be. What if that is Robert April? Is he Commodore Robert April, or is he an
Yeah.
admiral?
He was a Commodore at that
Okay.
point. Yeah.
So that would be really cool. For those who don't know, he was the captain of the Enterprise before Pike. He was the first captain of the 1701 and has only appeared on screen in the animated series in the final episode.
Yep.
The
Counterclock
counterclock incident.
Yep.
Voiced by
Where
James
he-
Doohan.
Yeah.
Like
And,
damn near every character on that
Yeah,
show.
exactly. He's actually just gone back in time and just became all those people over and over again.
Yeah,
that's
it's
why
like,
the Enterprise likes Scotty so much. It sounds like they're the ship's first captain.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's also a woman speaking who I'm not sure who
I
she
think that's
is.
Una
but
McCormick, or not Una McCormick. What am I saying? I think it's
Um,
Una, number one.
okay,
isn't
that's
it?
number one.
Yeah.
She says something about like we talk about first contact with other worlds. It's something that only happens in tales for children and within science fiction until finally it does happen. We see the paper doll of the Enterprise, I guess a little kid playing with, and then cut from that to the Discovery version of the 1701, which I still think is a gorgeous redesign. I think John Eves did a
Yeah.
fantastic job, and I love seeing it in action here. It looks like they're keeping the Discovery style. It's kind of like the Star Wars hyperdrive tunnel type of warp effect. They're gonna keep that.
It's not exactly in that they aren't doing a big vortexy swirl, which is kind of the defining feature, at least to me, for Star Wars, is that there's this swirling tunnel.
Yeah. It's not an exact copy, but this is pretty much how it looked on Discovery.
Yeah. What it always reminds me of is the way they did hyperspace in Stargate. I'm sure other shows have done it, but Stargate had a very streaky, streaming kind of thing going on. So when they get to the point in the show where they actually have hyperdrives on their ships in Stargate, which is the later seasons. So.
Their 200th episode with the parody of Star Trek was great.
Oh yeah, no, that was a great episode.
I've never watched Stargate, but I've seen. I saw the movie. I saw the original movie. But yeah, I call it the other Star franchise.
Yeah. Battlestar Gate. Galactic. No, that doesn't work. Never mind.
But we close on Pike staring out the window into space. So he's definitely changed his attitude, from the beginning. If he's the reluctant captain who's unsure if he wants to go back out into space, by the end of it, he looks like he is very happy to be back aboard the Enterprise.
There kind of seems to be this promise that we're not going to spend all season getting Pike's mojo back.
No, yeah. And they're promising a very episodic show, so I would expect that to potentially just be the arc of the first episode.
Yeah.
Or
maybe it's a flashback at some time in the future. Who knows?
Yeah. And, they also have the option of having him living in his, retirement on Talos 4 and having flashbacks to his younger adventures. I've heard people speculate that. I kind of think that overcomplicates things. I don't know if we need that, but maybe if you
young
book into
Indiana
the show.
Jones or something.
Yeah. Which I think Lucas actually tried to destroy all of that, and imagine that he's gonna go tamper with his work after it's come out. But yeah, that was the idea with that show. That you had the old Indy with the eye patch, right? And he was going back over his young adventures.
I mean, yeah. Trying to.
That would make it very episodic-y, kind of.
There would be
telling a story.
Your basic. I mean, and to some degree, you can say, well, they did the same thing with Indy's eye patch, but you'd be promising that there would be, how does Pike end up in this situation where he's telling these stories, and that story already exists as a old 60s episode, so you can never really put it in this show. So anyone who just doesn't feel like revisiting old classic Trek will never know the payoff for what you're setting up in using as a framing device in all your stories. But you could say the same about Indy's eye patch. So I don't think there was any intention necessarily to ever pay off. Where did Indy's eye patch come from? So, or how did he lose his eye? Rather, I think that no one
LASIK surgery at some point in the 80s. You know,
it just occurred to me that we know that the Telosians in the original series, they wanted humans to entertain them as part of why they wanted a race of humans. There was, we can't imagine anything anymore, so you have to be our entertainment. So maybe they're like asking them, like, oh, Pike, tell us another one of your famous stories.
They're going to reframe it so that all of Star Trek is just the stuff being told to the what the Telosians are viewing for entertainment. Not to say that it didn't happen, but that's how it's all framed and edited and mixed and everything is Telosian entertainment.
Teach the Telosians improv; they can entertain themselves
for hours and hours.
Yes.
In our live audience, Arthur is saying it would be great to see a turnover from April to Pike. That would be kind of a cool way to start off the show with like a flashback to that, and then I'm talking about bookending. Like then you could end it with him handing command off to Kirk, and Pike is promoted to fleet captain. It's the one time they meet that Kirk mentioned in the Menagerie Part 1.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
I think the perfect ending for the show, I've said this before, but I think the perfect ending would be that you have you introduce Kirk, and then you end with Helm and Spock sitting down to play a game of chess to get to know each other. And then it would connect perfectly into Where No Man Has Gone Before in the original series. But I doubt that they'll do that. It's too perfect. But Jill47, our live audience, she's saying, rest in peace, Yeoman Colt, who...
Oh, yeah.
The name of the actor escapes me, but she was the last surviving actor from The Cage who actually had speaking lines, who was actually credited as an actor in the credits, who has passed away. I guess she actually passed away several days ago, but the news didn't break until this week.
Yeah, it was Laurel Goodwin.
Laurel Goodwin.
Yeah. I think it was like Saturday or something like that, I want to say.
And we still have one of the Telosians is still alive, Miss Gimple, who also played the salt vampire in The Man Trap.
Larry has interviewed her a couple times. Yeah,
and I saw her at Star Trek Las Vegas this last year, and she's she still seems like really healthy. She actually worked as a stunt woman most of her career, so she's real athletic, real good shape. So that's probably why she's still
hasn't fallen off of things that much.
Yeah. But yeah, we're at that point now where in a few years, everyone who worked on the original series, the only people left are going to be those little kids from Miri and The Children Shall Lead.
Oh no! Wow,
that's going to be the surviving legacy. But yeah, that's the price you pay for being such a popular franchise that decades and decades later, people are still watching your content and talking about it.
It's kind of one of the interesting things about TAS is that there are more people for that, even though it's only a couple years later, just because animation was such a young person's game at that point. It's like you had 18 and 19-year-olds animating things, and just like so, they are still around.
No.
Yeah, a grown person with a big grown-up job doesn't want to sit and draw the same thing over and over
back
again
then,
like that.
Yeah, exactly. That was an interesting. If you go back whatever that is in the background,
so I'm not sure what's going on here. It looks very like Prometheus-y, like or Alien, I guess, but some type of asteroid or planetoid or something.
I guess in a very broad sense. I
it looks organic.
Yeah.
It looks Geiger-esque to me. It has a lot of like weird organic-y curves to it.
I guess, I don't know. It doesn't look all that Geiger-esque. It does look like a big, mysterious, and distinctly not human structure. So, in that sense, yes, but it doesn't look like there are people trapped in it or body parts trapped in it. Whereas Geiger-esque stuff generally looks like either people or body parts are somehow molded or shaped or embedded in it. So,
It's not Vox Solar or whatever from Enterprise with the goop.
yeah. But it does, anytime you come up against up to this potentially ancient looking structure and you're all wearing spacesuits, you're going to harken back to Alien a bit. So.
Have you ever seen Planet of the Vampires from the 60s, which has like so many things that like look like Alien? It's crazy. They even have like a giant pilot in a suit and everything like that.
Yeah, there's a proto space jockey in that movie.
Oh,
it's a dumb name, but kind of a fun movie.
I've never seen it, but I saw some article about all the Alien influence from it a few years ago.
It's shot beautifully.
It's if you're also looking for proto-Alien, the 1970s Doctor Who episode, The Ark in Space, is loaded with visually it's about as far from it as you can get.
Yeah.
but as far as execution, but script wise, this has got a whole lot of similarities.
I like that episode.
Yeah, no, it's a Robert Holmes script. All the Robert Holmes scripts are awesome.
So when do we get the Eagle Moss shuttle? That's my question.
Yeah, there's so many Eagle Moss opportunities right now with 5 Star Trek shows in production.
Yes.
Some of them they were already working on before. Like they did a model of the Titan back when it was a non-canonical ship. There's like, here's like a Titan from some book covers, and then that's a canonical ship now. So now they're like, oh, we can use that same 3D model to make a bigger version of that and release that as part of our canonical lower decks ship line.
So they didn't rebuild the Titan. I mean, I knew they kept the basic lines, but apparently the original the model we see on the show was based off the same CGI model that was used for the book covers, is what you're saying. At least on a foundational level. So.
And it's in Picard too, and like in that fleet, right? There's a Luna class.
Yeah, so it's appeared in live action. I feel kind of weird, like calling them live action ships. Well, those are still animated too, technically. Like,
yeah.
But yes, the live action version of it has now been on screen, and there were several Star Trek Online ships in that fleet, and they actually did take the same models from the game. There were already like high poly versions of those, apparently.
That's what we literally said last year when there was like, let's copy and paste the fleet. I'm like, you have like a ton of ships you can just use.
Yeah.
Go get them.
And even the copy paste ship from the Picard season 1 finale. Yeah. A lot of people complained to how it was so bland. It didn't have phaser strips or transporter emitters or any of those little details. But there's 3 of them that appear in the new season of Picard, and they've added all of those details on there. So they've really learned from that.
The Nebula class went through quite an upgrade after its first 2 appearances. So, I do feel like with all this new Trek, I'm never getting my Narada model from Eagle Moss, am I? They're never going to get around to the Narada. It's always, there's so much new stuff. It's just...
That would be cool.
I've just wanted a Narada I can put on my shelf, and I can't.
Jill 47 is asking, is this show in 4K? And we don't know yet, as far as I know. I haven't been told anything, but Paramount Plus does release some content in 4K now, so I think that, there's a good shot we might get Strange New Worlds in 4K.
I mean, that certainly makes things a lot more expensive when you're shooting, if you're trying to make because the level of resolution you need for all your CGI stuff is, significantly higher, and thus takes more processor time and requires more detailing for the CGI models. So, but it does ensure a certain longevity when everybody's shows are 4K in the 10 or 15 years.
When they adapt it to holograms, they'll have a better picture.
Yeah.
So, and at this point, I think everyone is painfully aware of what happens if you throw your show together on just whatever is the standard definition of the day. So you might end up regretting it a lot later.
Yeah.
I want to see Starfleet Boy is
Hey.
in our live audience. You should hop on real quick and tell us what you think before we sign off. Did y'all have like any other final thoughts on the trailer or on the show that stood out to you that you wanted to mention?
I like the trailer. I'm excited about seeing this show. I don't think I'm as excited as you are about seeing the show, but
this is the big one for me. This is the one that I was most excited for a long time, since before they announced it. Since the end of Discovery season 2, I was like, oh yeah, I want to see this ship. I want to see these people. What are they going to do?
I've seen a couple people in the pedantry of Star Trek. Like they're just like, why are there windmills when you have basically dilithium? It's like, well, not everything runs on dilithium. And also if he's like kind of a rugged individualist, he might be using that as like, this is a tried and true technology, and I don't need all this other stuff.
And there was no way you could accidentally run a shuttle into a windmill and blow up several kilometers worth of space of countryside, whereas that can absolutely happen with a matter-antimatter reactor.
Yeah, like I don't imagine everybody has one in their kitchen to run their food replicator or something like that.
I mean, with the oil crisis that our world is kind of facing right now, where gas is $4 a gallon, like I don't mind Star Trek making it's 7 out there.
In one place, yeah.
Yikes! But yeah, I don't mind Star Trek being like, hey, renewable energy is kind of cool. Look at all the solar panels on the Golden Gate Bridge. I think
that still bugs me.
But speaking of things that I think are cool, Starfleet Boy is here, so he's going to share with us his thoughts on the trailer before we sign off, or teaser. I guess I should call it a teaser. It's not really a full trailer.
I just wanted to come on so I could finally be on a panel with Aaron.
Oh, you can check that off the bucket list now.
Yeah.
Now he's logging off, but
now I'm logging off. No, I'm gonna go back and listen to y'all talk about this, but just first impressions were it was very emotional to see. Yeah, like what you're showing, like
the communicator, that showed up in Discovery before it showed up in Strange New Worlds.
Exactly.
They were both shooting in Toronto. They just like went across the street, like, can we borrow one of your communicators?
There's just something I think Paramount, has really, or whoever's the powers that be, Alex Kurtzman, whatever. I think they're really doing the right thing by kind of taking heed of like what a lot of even though it's mired in a lot of negativity with some other groups, but like there's a lot of fans who've been critical in a very like constructive way and
unconstructive ways.
What's that?
And there's been some unconstructive criticism lobbied also.
That's what I'm saying, but like I'm glad that the show makers are taking heed of that, because when I saw this trailer, when I saw the shuttle, for example, and like this new take on this kind of shuttle, it just like melted my heart. There's just something about like paying homage to what came before, like TOS and stuff, and like updating it, that's fine, but just doing it in a way that like visually makes sense and stuff like that. And then it's just exciting. I hope I've always wanted to know more about the Enterprise before Kirk, so this is our opportunity to see that. And like if this does really well, maybe we'll get a Robert April show like next.
A prequel to Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
But yeah, so just like a really good vibe from this teaser. I'm really excited and hyped for the show.
Yeah. And if you have, I know some people have seen more of this show than what they've officially released in this teaser trailer, and I think for those of us who have, I think it's fair to say that they're holding a lot back. Some of the coolest stuff is yet to be revealed. So,
I missed that entire
exciting
thing, so I'm still a surprise to me.
I do want to. I guess I'll throw in another tidbit. I am surprised at the restraint of them not putting a cowboy hat on Pike when he's on the horse. Like they looked at this scene and said, no, that would make it too cowboy. And it's like at that point, I almost wonder why bother? Why not put him in the hat?
He needs a hat at some point because that
It
seems
looks-
really cold outside.
Yeah, it looks like it was snowing. So keeping
So
the snow
where
off
does he
your-
live? Like he doesn't live in Mojave. Is like not that.
I want him to be
wouldn't
over
that
the hill
snowy.
from the Troys on Nepenthe.
I think it snows in like Nevada, Arizona, California. Mojave's in California, so I think it can snow in those parts. But he's probably somewhere else. He's probably in Alaska. No, I'm just.
Yeah, I know
kidding,
like
guys.
Nevada actually does get a lot of snow, but I don't know if they get snow in the region that's considered part of the Mojave Desert or not. I don't know. If anyone does know, they should let us know.
And that
because-
wasn't a little bit of snow. That was a lot of snow.
yeah, that was a lot of snow.
that could be Alaska levels of snow. You know, I doubt it was, but at least it did cross.
Yeah,
my mind.
there's pictures of the Mojave Desert with snow, but not like at that level.
Yeah.
It's like mountain type snow.
Yeah, it's like on the brush and stuff like that. So yeah.
But what is it? Today is March 9th, 10th?
Oh, interesting. There are
Oh.
this picture of with the snow has those windmills as well. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So we don't have too long to go
Sorry.
before the show comes out. I think we'll probably get like another big trailer that'll show more of our other characters. We'll get like more sense of the cast. That'll probably happen, I think, on First Contact Day. Probably like right before Mission Chicago, or maybe at Mission Chicago. But I think they're probably still gonna do like their First Contact Day event before
When
the
is
big
that?
convention.
April. First contact day is April 4th.
5th or 4th?
Fourth.
Fifth.
Fifth.
That's the same
They
day.
go back in
Shuttlecraft-
time to the 4th when the Borg are shooting, and it's the day before First Contact.
Oh, gotcha.
That's what they're here to do. Stop First Contact.
That's right.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
the
April
fourth
5th.
first contact day is the day that Cadet Picard did his first light speed travel aboard Uhura's ship. So
Oh.
that's pretty cool.
It's the same class as the Shinjo.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not a Walker class. Is that the Shenzo?
It's a Walker class, yeah.
Class. This is a Lancelot class, and it's named after I never can say his name, but Guinevere's father. So
Also played by Stewart, right?
Patrick Stewart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, an Excalibur.
Yeah, and Excalibur. That's right.
He's trying to pull the sword out the stone.
Yeah.
I need
Oh
to
yeah,
see
they
that movie
really
sometime.
go deep with with the Star Trek Picard production team.
I think at some point you get to the point where everyone's just competing to see who can go deeper with their props or their whatever. And
Well, Aaron can tell you something
Vermilion
about
battle
that.
cruiser.
'cause
uh,
Aaron competes with trying to find all the Easter eggs.
yeah,
But yeah, there's a few people out there that
I want to
will
get
give
paid
you a
to
run
do
for your
that.
money. Yeah, it's I mean I
It's
try
a
to
whole
keep up with that
job.
type of stuff, but
Yeah, it's hard.
I've had to modify our show to be like, here's all of the continuity connections, Easter eggs, and in jokes that I thought were worth mentioning. Because
Yeah.
it's just too much to mention all of it.
I
So-
think the only one where I wanted to make sure I got absolutely everyone was Lower Decks with what is that name?
Keishon, his eyes
Keishon,
open.
yeah.
There's still a couple that no one has
Yeah.
figured out. Like that. What is it? Like that brown barrel looking thing.
Yeah.
Did you ever figure that one out?
Nope.
Yeah.
And Mike will not
McMahon's
tell
not
me.
telling anyone. Yeah.
No.
He's like, nope. You got to figure it out. So
I know
So
so
they
that one
have
day we're going to be watching something and it's just going to show up and we're like, oh, that's that.
yeah.
but they have confirmed that it is something. It's not just some random shape that
Yes.
they
Yeah.
put there because they ran out of create ideas. But
Yeah.
so-
No. It is.
Yeah,
It's,
and Murph's
everything in there
my
is
big-
something.
Murph is my big thing. I'm on the hunt for. The
Yeah.
first
What
contact.
that
What
was
is
driving me
Murph?
crazy.
what is the Murph?
My joke is that it's the what is it, the biomimetic gel packs
Oh,
that have
what
turned
is
into
Murph? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
evolved
Murph-
into Murph.
Murph.
Murph was referenced in like some Star Trek extra thing, like a novel or a book
they've-
or something like
They've
that.
teased that he is a deep cut, but
Yeah, really deep,
Yeah.
like from the books. But no, I've
So-
not seen
From the
anyone
books, oh.
come up with it yet.
we'll find out someday. But yeah, I have to go to bed soon because I go to bed early on Wednesdays so I can get up and watch the new episodes of Discovery and Picard and start making notes so I can do a live podcast on Fridays at 7 p.m. Central that everyone should check out. But in the meantime, any final thoughts on this teaser or Strange New Worlds in general before we sign off? No?
Bring it
That's
on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I'm
Bring it
excited.
on.
Like I was saying, I think we'll probably get like another big trailer and probably like early April. I think they'll save it for there, and then them at that point we're less than a month away, so they'll probably really be ramping up the promotional material. But
Yeah.
very exciting with the return of Picard was such a incredible shot in the arm. I think getting so many people pumped, and then with Strange New Worlds on the horizon, yeah, we are back in the golden age of Star Trek.
Hit it.
Engage. Let's fly. Make it so. Just like
Punch it.
everyone's whole laundry list.
Warp me.
But on that note, we will sign off. So thank you for watching. Be sure to comment and let us know what you think about the teaser. And until next time, live long and prosper, y'all.